Welcome to this PokeMMO guide, where I'm going to show you how you can complete all 5 regions fast in an alt account using only one Pokemon team. As you can see, we are at the beginning after clicking New Character from the main menu after opening up PokeMMO. We're going to call this guy Fearon Jr. and use a Fire Sun team throughout the whole guide. Because we are going for a fire team, I'm going to put red and orange colors on the character to match the theme. If you haven't completed many storylines or feel like you're more of a beginner in this aspect of the game, I would actually recommend you use a more balanced team. But if you're a player who has played more difficult ROM hacks and feel that the storylines isn't much of a challenge, it really doesn't matter what kind of team you use, as long as you have some sort of strategy of how to beat the most difficult gym leaders and trainers. What truly matters is the order in which you go through the different storylines, so we can tackle all 5 as efficiently and quickly as possible. I'll come back to this in just a moment. We're starting our journey in Unova for one key reason. It's where we can gather the full Pokemon team as early as possible to take on the rest of the gyms across all 5 regions. Stay with me, and I'll break it all down in detail next. I've created a chart showing all the gyms we'll face, arranged in the correct order for this guide. On the left, you'll find the regions, in the middle, the gym numbers, and on the right, the level caps for each gym. I've also added an empty column on the far right where we can check off our progress as we go. If you're completely new to the game and happen to find this video, let me explain what level caps mean. To make the game more challenging, you can't over-level your Pokemon before each gym. Once a Pokemon reaches the level cap, it stops gaining experience until the gym is beaten. However, any experience earned beyond the cap isn't lost. It's stored and applied immediately after you've defeated the gym leader. The reason it's so important to follow the correct gym order for this method to work is simple. If you travel to a different region with a Pokemon that exceeds the gym's level cap, it will become disobedient. In battle, this will lead to the Pokemon refusing commands and immediately killing itself the first turn. To travel between regions in PokeMMO, you need at least 4 gym badges in your starting region. As shown on the chart, we'll begin by completing 4 gyms in Unova before moving on to Sinnoh. For these first 4 gyms, we'll rely on just a couple of Pokemon, leveling them up to 31. Later, these Pokemon will join the rest of the team in Kanto for the 3rd gym, as indicated further down on the chart. If you haven't figured it out by now, this guide is primarily designed for endgame players who have already completed all the storylines on one character and want to quickly progress through a new storyline with a single Pokemon team on a new playthrough. However, beginners are also welcome to follow along if you're looking for guidance on where to go next when stuck at a specific point in the story. Spoiler alert for beginners. We'll encounter 3 major boss fights throughout the regions. These include the Gyarados fight and the Ho-Oh fight in Johto, and finally, the Giratina fight in Sinnoh. The Ho-Oh fight is the only boss fight with its own level cap, while the other 2 are tied to gym level caps, as highlighted in red on the chart. Alright, I think I've covered all the most important details, so without further ado, let's dive right into our journey through Unova. In this guide, I'll be skipping through all the storyline text and focusing solely on what to do and where to go. However, if you're a beginner, I recommend taking the time to follow the story, especially if you haven't played the original games before. Now it's time to pick our starter Pokemon. Since I already have a Pokemon team prepared on my main account, the choice of starter Pokemon doesn't really matter for me. I'm planning to release it as soon as we reach the next town anyway. Poor little Mon. Anyways, in Unova specifically, your choice of starter does matter a little because the first gym battle will be against the type that counters your starter's type. For me, the smartest choice would be the water starter, as it means I'd face a grass-type trainer in the first gym. However, I'm not going to do that because the first gym is easy enough as it is. So, I'll go with the fire starter, Tepig. Now, going into your first trainer battle, you have a very high win rate by just spamming your attacking move over and over. Let's see how it goes. I plan to fast forward through most of the simpler battles in this guide, but since this is our very first Pokemon battle, I'd like to introduce a special guest who will join us exclusively for the battles. Draco the Dragon Tamer, the professional PvP commentator.
Cheers, Fearon. As you can see in the battle, that wee Snivvy's got the speed advantage or Tepig, but it's nae making much of a difference. It's barely scratching him. Things are looking braw so far for Tepig.
Excellent.
Just keep meshing tackle and you'll be fine. GG's, Letty.
Thanks for that, Draco. As expected, we easily won our first trainer battle by simply spamming tackle. The next battle against Oshawott will likely be just as straightforward, so we'll fast forward through it, and then I'll guide you on where to go next. While we have you here, Draco, why don't you tell us a bit about yourself, your fascination with dragons, and how you got into Pokemon PvP?
Well, for starters, I'm not even a real human, just an AI voice crafted by 11 Labs, based on one of your dragon-themed alt accounts. As for the dragons, well, I actually caught a wild Loch Ness monster as a wee lad back in Scotland where I grew up. Ever since then, I've been absolutely obsessed with dragons.
Wow, that's such a based response, my dude, no cap. You're the definition of a Giga Chad. Anyway, let's keep moving. After leaving the first house in Unova, head straight down to the house on the left to continue the story. After skipping through all the dialogue in the bottom house, we'll head straight to the Pokemon lab in the top left corner. Up next is another lengthy dialogue in the Pokemon lab. After that, we'll head straight to the grass in the top right corner of the map. Here, the characters will challenge you to catch as many Pokemon as possible, but there are no rewards for this, and it's not necessary for this guide. Instead, we'll go straight to the next Pokemon Center. By the way, I got a bit lucky here, making it through the grass on my first attempt without using any repels. Finally, after a lot of dialogue, we've made it to Accumula Town. It's time to stock up on Pokemon and supplies from the main account. First, we'll head straight into the Pokemon Center to finish the dialogue there, then we'll move to the PC on the left. I've mailed 6 Pokemon from my main account for battles, along with 3 utility mons, with all the necessary HMs for navigating outside of battles throughout the storylines.
HM slaves, you mean?
What the fuck, Draco? That was unhinged. Anyways, we've got mail.
Oh, I can't wait to see what kind of muns you've whipped up for us for the main account.
As you can see, we've received some repels, cosmetics, and EXP candy sent from the main account. I completely forgot that the Pokemon we'll be using are already stored in the account box, so we can just grab them from there. But first, let me flex some drip. We've got a red backpack to keep the fire theme alive and this sick Kitsune mask, which I earned by playing hide and seek at the Halloween event with some weird cat across all 5 regions. Absolute W. Alright, let's check out the mons I've cooked up from the main account. As a huge fan of fire Pokemon, most of the characters I've created in PokeMMO have focused on the best fire types, including all the starters and especially those with high speed and offensive stats. This time though, I wanted to try something different with my fire teams. I decided to build a Trick Room team using the slowest fire types available. For those unfamiliar, Trick Room is a move that reverses the speed order in battle, letting the slowest Pokemon move first. The only fire type in the game that can set up Trick Room is Chandelure, so it's an essential part of this team. I also wanted a Pokemon with great bulk to help set up Trick Room, so the only non-fire Pokemon I've included is Baltoy, which will eventually evolve into Claydol. The next 3 team members are obvious picks for a Fire Trick Room team due to their incredibly low speed: Torkoal, Numel, and Slugma. The final spot took some thought, but I went with Flareon for its great special defense and relatively low speed compared to other fire types. The strategy is simple. Set up Trick Room with the setters, bring in Torkoal to activate Sun, and either blast through opponents with Eruption, or set up with the Move Curse. While I'm using this team for the guide, I wouldn't recommend copying it. There are much better story Pokemon to choose from. I'm using it because I love fire types, and it's a fun change from my usual teams. If you want an easier time through the storylines, I'd suggest fast, offensive Pokemon with abilities like Moxie or set up moves like Dragon Dance or Quiver Dance. Just be cautious with some of these picks, as they might evolve too late to reach their full potential before you're near the end. And for Hydreigon fans, bad news. It evolves after the level cap for all storylines and has a worse ability in its earlier stages. 2 other important things you should think about when building your team. First, bring a Pokemon that can set up hazards, especially Stealth Rock, as it's incredibly effective against some gym leaders and the Elite Four. Second, include a Pokemon with multi-hit moves like Double Kick, Bullet Seed, or Icicle Spear to deal with trainers who have Pokémon with the sturdy ability. For my team, I use Claydol to set up Stealth Rock and Flareon, with Double Kick for handling sturdy Pokémon. One major advantage of starting a new character is being able to prep everything on your main account to make the process much smoother. All my Pokémon are fully EV trained, have solid IVs, and beneficial natures for a Trick Room team. I've also invested in some TMs, so I don't have to waste time hunting them down in different regions or waiting for specific moves at certain levels. As for my ball toy, it doesn't have Stealth Rock yet because that TM is obtained early on after defeating the first gym in Sinnoh. As you can see, my first choice for a bulky Trick Room setter was actually Slowking. It's a great option because it can use Scald to burn opponents, making setup moves easier, and it also has access to Ice Beam, which is incredibly effective against major threats like dragons. If you didn't know, Fairy type doesn't exist in PokeMMO, which makes Dragon types even stronger.
Aye, that's why dragons are the best. Go on, Nissie.
Anyway, I decided to go with Claydol as my bulky Trick Room setter, because it has access to Teleport, Explosion, and Stealth Rock. Teleport and Explosion are particularly useful, since they let me avoid taking damage when switching to my slower Pokémon. I can either tank a hit and pivot with Teleport, or use Explosion to safely bring in my slow attackers, which will then move first under Trick Room. Slowking instead took on the role of handling all the water HMs, while I brought along a Flygon and a Smeargle to cover the rest of the HMs for this journey.
Every team's gotta have a few HM slaves, aye.
My dude. Also, I forgot to mention that I brought a few electric types that will make the Gyarados fight so much easier. And I also brought an unevolved Charmeleon for no reason at all. That's enough yapping for now, let's move on. The two Pokemon we'll use to conquer the first 4 gyms are Litwick as our Trick Room setter and Torkoal as our special attacker. And by the way, I like to nickname all the Pokemon I use just for fun. The Litwick is nicknamed Chandler, and the Torkoal is nicknamed Terruption. Now, let's fast forward through this cutscene so that we can start our first Pokemon battle with our actual Storymuns. We're going to face the character called N, and our Pokemon are overleveled, so strategy isn't really needed to beat this one. This will be the last battle we slightly take a look at before we face the first gym battle. Take it away, Draco the Dragon Tamer.
Cheers, Fearin. And sends out a Purloin. Weak as hell, nae gonna lie. Probably a Zorua hiding under that wee thing, but it's nae gonna do him any favors. When the level 20 Terruption sees the wee weakling it's up against, it's probably laughing its tail off inside. Going for an Eruption here is the obvious choice. You'd expect nothing less for a Pokemon with a name like that. Tanks the scratch like a proper hero and just one mere Pokemon to go. Bet the real Purloin won't do any more damage than the Zorua did.
Even though we're overleveled, the physical bulk on this thing is actually so good.
The real Purloin comes out, but the damage for it was laughably weak. Terruption smashes through and takes the win. GG's.
Alright, as easy as we expected. Now it's time to head to the next town for our first gym badge. First, we'll head straight to the left to grab our running shoes. From here on, we'll be fast-forwarding quite a bit to skip all the easy trainers on the way to the next gym. We'll also pop a repel in the grass to avoid wasting time on wild encounters. The first trainer on the way is unavoidable, but it's an easy win against a weak Patrat. The next 2 trainers can be avoided by simply sneaking past them. I recommend walking instead of running when sneaking by trainers, as many will turn around instantly if you try to run past them. For beginners, I suggest battling all the trainers to earn Poké-Yen and EXP, but for intermediate players, it's simply not worth it. Storyline trainers provide far less value compared to more efficient endgame activities for farming money and EXP on your main account. After healing your Pokémon at the Poké Center, head to the house just to the left of it. Inside, you'll meet one of your friends from the beginning of the story, who will challenge you to a battle. Once you've defeated him, it's time to take on the next gym challenge. The Pokemon Gym is located just to the right of the Poké Center, where one of the 3 gym leader brothers will be waiting for you. In Unova, I always recommend talking to the guy who greets you at the entrance. He'll give you a free fresh water item, which can be useful for healing your Pokémon between battles. The Striaton City Gym puzzle is straightforward. Simply walk through the symbol of the element that is strong against the one shown on the curtain. Water beats fire, grass beats water, and fire beats grass. Along the way, we'll also battle the trainers behind each curtain. We're finally ready to take on our first gym battle. As I mentioned earlier, the gym leader you face will use a Pokémon that counters your starter. Since I chose Tepig, I'll be up against the Water-type leader. But no worries, elemental monkeys don't scare us. Ready for this, Draco?
I was born ready, laddie. Let's show this wee monkey who's king of the battlefield. The opponent sends Oot Panpour, the wee water monkey. Oot comes Chandler, the wee ghost with a flame, burning bright and ready to cause some chaos. Chandler soaks up that water gun like it's a welcome drink at a summer party, then sets up Trick Room. Smart play, that. In comes Terruption, the big fiery turtle, with a speed advantage thanks to Trick Room. Let's see if this beast can turn the battlefield into a smoldering wasteland. Even though he's got a super effective move, he still goes with Eruption just to show who's the real king of the battlefield. Panpour gets absolutely obliterated, nae a chance, and the opponent's doomed to their last Pokemon. Out comes a wee scrawny Lillipup, and the game's practically over before it's even begun. GG's, Fearon, that's your first gym badge. Well earned, laddie.
Thanks, Draco. As expected, this gym was easy as hell, and the first gyms in the other 4 regions will likely be just as straightforward. Actual battle strategy will be more useful in the later gym battles. Now that we've defeated the first gym, you'll notice the level cap has increased to 24. After leaving the gym, we're greeted by Fennel, who takes us through a series of cutscenes that we'll fast forward through. Let's heal our Pokémon first, then we will head east to continue the storyline. Oops, I almost forgot. We'll need Cut to get through this part. Let's quickly head back to the Poké Center to grab my HM Smeargle. I've nicknamed him Handy, because he's going to be pretty handy throughout the storylines. Let's cut through here. After that, there's a long storyline sequence, including some battles before we can head back to Striaton City. I've noticed that my Litwick isn't the best choice against Team Plasma members here in Unova, as they often use Dark-type Pokémon. I'd recommend bringing a strong Fighting-type Pokémon to easily handle Team Plasma's Dark types. To progress the story, we'll need to enter the house on the right and talk to Professor Fennel. Unova might have the most dialogue of any region, which can be a bit annoying for endgame players. But to be fair, it's a good story. Once we're done in this building, we'll head left from Striaton City and then go upwards until we reach our first double battle. A quick eruption from our trusty turtle will handle it easily and we can move on. Next up, we'll have a quick battle against our friend Charon. Once we've beaten him, we'll head left and enter Wellspring Cave, where a few Team Plasma members are waiting for more battles. The first battle is straightforward, while the second is a double battle where you team up with Charon, which adds a bit of fun. In these battles, your partner often ends up slowing you down with their weak Pokemon, but it's still a nice change of pace. After showing those Team Plasma members who's the new sheriff in town, we'll return to Bianca and the little girl, then head straight down. We'll sneak past a few trainers on our way to the next town to save time, and soon we'll arrive in Nacrene City, ready for our second gym battle. After healing our Pokemon at the Poké Center, we'll head to the library just behind it on the right, where N will be waiting for a battle. N actually managed to take out my Litwick in this battle, but he was no match for the mighty Terruption. Good thing this isn't a Nuzlocke, because then it would be rest in peace to Chandler. I'm just going to heal up my Pokemon again, and then we will head straight back to the library for the gym challenge. First, a guide will show us around and introduce some prehistoric exhibits. Then we'll move to the next room where we'll face an unavoidable trainer. In this gym puzzle, we need to read books to find clues about where to go next to complete the challenge. We'll start with the bookshelf on the left. The first clue asks which Pokemon we encountered first in this gym, and the answer is Patrat, from the battle with the first trainer. The Patrat book is located on the middle bookshelf to the left, which is where we'll head next for the next clue. The next clue hints that someone might be reading the book we're looking for. As you can see, there's a person reading by the bookshelf in the top left corner. That's where we'll head next for a quick battle with her. After winning this battle by burning down her cute little dog, we gain access to the next clue. It reveals that the book we're looking for is near the entrance. We'll head to the bookshelf in the bottom right corner to find it. The final clue in this gym puzzle is found by approaching and battling the girl standing by the middle right bookshelf. After the battle, a hidden passage to the basement will open, where the gym leader awaits. My strategy here is to set up Trick Room with Litwick and then sweep the rest of the team with Terruption. Since this is a normal type gym, a strong fighting type Pokemon could be useful in this battle. Watch out for the move Retaliate, used by the gym leader. It has a base power of 70, but can jump to a frightening 140 if used right after one of their teammates is knocked out.
Right then, folks, it's time for a new gym battle. Let's get stuck in. Let's go. In comes Herdier, the big scruffy Doug, looking ready to put up a fight. Let's see what it's got. Farron sends out his Litwick as usual. Try not to let it faint this time, eh, buddy?
Haha, come on, dude. That was just one time, and I was distracted by something else IRL while doing the battle.
Oof, the Herdier got the flinch. That's some serious RNG luck for it, no doubt. And it's landed a crit as well. Chandler still manages to set up Trick Room, though. That's based, laddie.
Hell yeah.
In comes Terruption, as you'd expect, with a massive advantage new thanks to Trick Room and its powerful moveset. Tanks a wee Doug bite like a true champion. No, let the sweeping commence.
From here, we'll just fast forward, as the battle is already won thanks to our setup and the sheer power of Eruption.
Aye, there was nae doubt after tanking 2 super effective hits and setting up the Trick Room. GG's on your second gym badge. Only 2 more to go afore heading to Sinnoh.
After defeating the second gym in Unova, the level cap has now increased to 27. Next, we'll head back out to the museum area, where we'll witness Team Plasma causing trouble, followed by some story dialogue. We'll step outside for some more story dialogue, then heal up our Pokemon before heading west to begin our journey toward the third gym badge. Simply follow the road straight west, and we'll arrive at Pinwheel Forest. The first obstacle is a double battle, which Terruption easily one-shots. This is followed by a series of Team Plasma battles deeper into the forest. Unfortunately, we can't sneak past the Team Plasma members, but if you spot any guys in red outfits, remember to walk past them instead of running. You can avoid battling them by sneaking carefully. Getting through the forest is pretty straightforward. Just walk through the tree tunnels, sneak past the trainers whenever possible, and eventually we'll reach the Plasma members who stole the artifact from the museum. After defeating the last Plasma member in the forest, there's a long story cutscene. Once that's done, we'll finally head out of the forest and start heading towards Castelia City. The next part, crossing the bridge to Castelia City, is quite nice and nostalgic, especially if it's your first time playing through the Unova storyline. Now we've finally reached Castelia City, which is probably the biggest and most complex place in the region map-wise. The first thing we're going to do is heal our Pokemon at the Poké Center, and then move all the way to the left of the city. Head toward the building that looks like a Pokemon gym, where we'll meet Sharon, who just challenged the gym leader. The gym leader then comes out and informs us about some trouble with Team Plasma. We'll need to head back, almost to where the Poké Center is. Just before reaching the Poké Center, turn right at the largest pier in the center. Here, we'll meet up with Berg, Bianca, and Iris. After a brief story sequence, we'll head back to the same spot where the Pokemon gym building is located. Follow Berg to the building just to the left after walking past the Pokemon gym. Here, we'll face a Team Plasma member in battle. Once we've defeated him, we'll head inside for another story sequence. After another long story session, it's time for a new gym challenge. Make sure your Pokemon is fully healed and head inside the Pokemon gym building just to the right. In this gym challenge, the goal is to step on the yellow buttons on both sides of the doors to open the path to the next room. Some yellow buttons can be skipped, as they lead to bonus surprises with extra trainer battles. After grabbing a fresh water from the man at the entrance, we'll step on the first yellow button and then face an unavoidable trainer battle moving to the right. This gym should be pretty easy for my team since it's filled with bug types and I have 2 strong fire types with me. Start by stepping on the yellow button on the right, then go through the door that opens. Avoid stepping on the yellow button in the middle, as it will trigger an extra trainer battle. Next, step on the yellow buttons on both sides of the middle door to open it. Now, step inside the newly opened chamber and step on the yellow button here. Go down to the left and step on the yellow button here to open up a new chamber. Skip through the yellow trainer button on the way into this chamber and step on the yellow button inside here. Now there's only one room left where we need to step on the last yellow button. There will be an unavoidable trainer battle inside here. After beating this bug clown, it's finally time to face the 3rd gym leader in Unova. Remember to step on the last yellow button and heal up your Pokemon if necessary. Ready, Draco?
Always ready, pal. This'll be a walk in the park with those fiery beasts you got with you. Berg sends Oot Levani. My dragons are pure jealous, right, Nu? They love using firepower on that kind of dry material. Oot comes Chandler. Will he set up Trick Room? Aye, he will. Grass attacks won't do a thing against this team, pal. Trick Room's up. No, will he switch to Interruption? Nah, he won't. Now that's a spicy choice for a fear, and Chandler's going for the win himself. Takes Dun Levani with Flamethrower. So far, so good. In comes Dwebble. Let's see what this wee bug's got to offer. Survives with a sturdy ability. No, that's something different. Fires off a rock blast with super effective damage. You can tell this Litwick's got HP and defense EVs invested by the way it tanks those hits. Chandler finishes F Dwebble. 2 Mare Pokemon Tego. In comes Whirlipede. That was nae threat at all. Only 1 Pokemon left for the Bug Gym leader. Trick Room's worn off. Will that be a problem for Chandler? Let's find out. The last Pokemon, Sewaddle, takes the speed advantage and lands a Grass Whistle. What an exciting end to this battle. What will Fearin do now? He switches to Terruption. The sun's up, and he tanks that grass move like it was a Caesar salad. Oh no, lands another Grass Whistle, putting both fire Pokemon to sleep. What a spicy play for a gym leader Berg. The only question new is, will he manage to do anything before the fearsome turtle wakes up and unleashes an eruption? Both Razor Leaf and Bug Bite to absolutely nae damage tie it. As we can see, the last move in its move pool is a weak Struggle Bug, lowering its special attack by 1 stage. But is it going to help? Terruption finally wakes up and fires F the eruption. The special attack drop wouldn't have mattered much, even with a critical hit. GG's. 3rd gym badge well earned.
Thank you, Draco. Only 1 more gym to go in Unova before heading to Sinnoh. Now that we have beaten the 3rd gym in Unova, the level cap has increased to level 31. After leaving the gym, we'll get a quick call with some story dialogue. After that, I'll show you, just for fun, where to access another region from Unova. In PokeMMO, each region has 1 town with a unique NPC who can take you to a different region. In Unova, this NPC is located right here in this city. Unfortunately, we can't travel to a different region yet, as the first time you move to a new region with a new character, you need at least 4 gym badges, and we currently have 3. Here's the dude you talked to right here. We'll come back here at this very spot after we receive 4 gym badges. Next up, we're just going to heal up our Pokemon real quick. Then we're going to head towards the 4th Pokemon gym in Unova. Next, we're heading north. At this point, it doesn't matter which alley you take, as long as you keep on moving in the north direction. Just keep running until you reach the other side of the city. Bianca and Sharon will challenge us to a battle before we can move on to the next town. If necessary, just head back to the Pokemon Center to heal up your Mons between the battles. After beating both Bianca and Sharon, we're just going to keep heading north. All the trainers on this desert-looking map can be avoided. Just use some repels to skip wild encounters, and then sneak behind the trainers to avoid battling them as well. After picking up some Ultra Balls from Professor Juniper, get ready for one last battle against a Team Plasma member before we can heal up our Pokemon in Nimbasa City. We also received a bicycle from that last cutscene, which will be super useful for the rest of the Unova storyline. After healing up our Pokemon, it's time to head straight east, where we'll meet up with N. He'll take us for a ride on the Ferris wheel, which includes a longer story scene, before eventually challenging us to a battle. Keep in mind that if one of his Pokemon seems off, it's probably just his Zorua in disguise. Once we've beaten N, we can heal up our Pokemon again before heading into the gym building for our 4th gym challenge. This gym doesn't have any challenging puzzles. You just need to step on some obvious tiles to be transported around the building. The challenge here is the unavoidable trainers along the way. It's a good idea to bring some paralyzed heals, unless you're using special attackers that can one-shot everything. The reason for this is that physical attackers risk being paralyzed by the ability Static, which activates when making contact. By the way, you can actually sneak past the 2nd trainer on the way, so it wasn't trainers in plural. My mistake. Anyway, it's time to face the gym leader.
4th gym battle's about to kick off. The gym leader sends out an Emolga, a flying and electric-type Pokemon. Watch yourself for those paralyzing attacks. Out comes Chandler. Will he manage to set up the trick room? Lands the Thunder Wave. Ye could be in trouble now. Surprisingly goes for Calm Mind. Now that's a different play than we've seen Frey use so far, Fearon. Emolga Volt switches out, and in comes Zebstrika, the electric horse. Chandler finally sets up Trick Room. Some good RNG there, dodging being stuck by paralysis twice new. Goes for the flamethrower, but it still doesn't a one-shot, even with special attack boosted by 1 stage. That's what you get when you put all your EVs into defensive stats. Zebstrika Volt switches out, and in comes Emolga number 2. Fearon plays it safe here and switches Interruption. No doubt his strongest Pokemon in the squad right now. The sun comes up thanks to Interruption's ability, Drought. Emolga Volt switches out again, and in comes Zebstrika, hanging on with very low HP. Interruption fires off a Weather Ball, boosted to massive power by the sun, and Zebstrika gets knocked clean out. The gym leader's got 3 Pokemon left new, and things are looking real good for Fearon. But I didn't think he'll manage to finish them off before Trick Room runs out. This'll be exciting to see. The gym leader sends out a wee silly Joltik. Doubt it can do much against this sunny setup. Interruption fires off another Weather Ball, taking Dune the Joltik in 1 shot. Only 2 Pokemon left new for the electric gym leader. Whoopsie, Trick Room's worn off, and the slow Interruption's lost its advantage. Emolga lands a Thunder Wave. This could get a wee bit tricky. But luckily, Interruption nails its eruption on the first try. Emolga's knocked out, and we're doomed to just any Emolga left. In comes the last Pokemon. It goes for Volt Switch, but will it do enough damage to this bulky beast? The answer's no, not yet at least. But Fearon finally hits some bad RNG in this match as Interruption gets stopped, Frey attacking due to paralysis. Throws out another Volt Switch, but Terruption tanks it. Paralysis strikes again. This is huge for the electric gym leader. She might just have a chance here. Terruption tanks another Volt Switch like a true champion. This time, the attack finally breaks through the paralysis, and Emolga goes Dune. GG's, 4th gym badge in Unova, well earned.
Thanks, Draco. I have to admit, I was a bit worried there when Torkoal couldn't attack twice in a row because of the paralysis. A nice advantage we have here is that our 2 battling Pokémon are only level 28, which means we can use them a little earlier than originally planned. As you can see on this chart, we'll be able to use these Pokémon again when we reach Hoenn for the 3rd gym, where the level cap is also 28. Let's teleport back to the entrance, and it's time to use our bicycle to travel all the way back to Castelia City. Here we're going to talk to the dude that's going to take us to another region. I hope this video provided some value, whether you're following along with the story or just enjoying the content for entertainment. I plan to release at least 1 video per week as part of this guide series. The plan is to cover around 4 to 6 gyms per video. We're now nearing the end of the first part of this series. Remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you want to follow our journey. And I hope to see you for part 2 when it comes out. Just a quick reminder, if it's your first time traveling to a new region in PokeMMO with a new character, all your Pokémon will be sent to the PC. Don't worry, you'll be able to retrieve them once you reach the next town in the story. As you can see, we've completed 4 gyms in Unova, with just about an hour of total gameplay. Not bad at all. Follow this guide and we'll get you through the storylines efficiently, without wasting any unnecessary time. Now it's time to head to Sinnoh. Thanks for watching. See you in part 2.